Michael mentioned, my name is Jim Robeson, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of PiinPoint. For those of you who do not know PiinPoint, in one sentence, our software helps retailers solve complex location challenges using artificial intelligence and data analytics. Now, before we dive into the future of site selection, I want to take you back to a conversation I had, I think, nearly 10 years ago with the chairman of one of the largest retail brands in North America. He shared a story that perfectly captures how far we've come. How back in the day, he and his team would take to the skies, flying over communities in helicopters to assess the market potential. Meanwhile, his directors of real estate would be stationed in parking lots for days, counting cars and observing traffic patterns. It was a bold approach, and for its time, it worked. It combined intuition with experience. And for some of you in the audience, these foundational methods may still hold value. So the thing is, the world we're living in is rapidly changing. So let's now imagine that we could take these foundational strategies and elevate them to a whole new level. What if, instead of relying solely on processes that have worked in the past, we could harness something called GeoAI, a cutting-edge blend of geographic data analysis with artificial intelligence, to ultimately cut the time to market in half, to eliminate costly errors before they happen, and to make decisions with an unprecedented amount of accuracy. The thing is, this isn't a visionary idea. It is the reality that emerging technologies like GeoAI are delivering to the real estate industry as we speak. So, over the next 15 minutes, we are going to dive deeper into what GeoAI is and why trust and transparency are more important than ever, especially when using and building predictive models. I'm going to share with you guys some key questions that you or your real estate teams can use when working or assessing location analytics vendors, and why ultimately embracing simulations and new data sources can transform your network strategy for the better. So, with that said, what is GeoAI? Well, AI is everywhere, but there's more to it than just ChatGPT. So, especially in network planning. GeoAI is a blend of geographic data analysis with artificial intelligence. It is a powerful feature that is integrated within modern software platforms. It can analyze both spatial and non-spatial data to ultimately forecast or model complex scenarios and predict outcomes with proven accuracy. With GeoAI in your software, you can seamlessly forecast the impacts of future events, like new store openings, renovations, or shifting demographics. Now, you may be wondering, well, how is this different than what I've been doing for the past decade, using more traditional models, like linear regression or gravity models? While these models are straightforward, they often fall short in accuracy, and they fail to capture the complexities of today's changing market dynamics. GeoAI, it ultimately goes beyond these methods. It can, I'll say, enhance, or it brings together more richer data sources, more advanced models. Now, at the same time, with GeoAI, with these advanced capabilities, I guess at the end of the day, it's about trust. And you can have all the models in the world, but without trust, the impact of them can fall apart. So before we go any further, I want to do a quick survey. So I want to see where all of you stand. And I can appreciate that not all of you in the audience work within real estate analytics. So just put yourself in the shoes of your colleagues who do oversee this department. The first question is, how many of you use predictive analytics like sales forecasting, cannibalization, or white space analysis within your organization? Just raise your hand. Okay, a few of you. And how many of you know the data that drives the outputs? Okay, perfect. And how many of you fully trust these predictions? Okay, okay, great. Based on your responses, there is a wide, maybe not a wide range, there's a range of awareness, but also confidence in the predictive models. Some of you are more comfortable and trusting, while others might be skeptical. But here's the thing, trust is not built automatically. Trust must be built and maintained, especially when using complex models. So the thing is, to ensure that you and your team can rely on these predictive models, you need to be able to ask the right questions. By asking the right questions to your location analytics vendors, you can uncover the inner workings. So, key questions and deliverables. What are the questions that you should start with? Well, they go beyond asking about or assessing the accuracy of a model. They dig deeper into how the model works. So the first question is, what are the data sources that are used in the model and how often are they updated? Understanding the variety and recency of the data, like demographics, mobile data, traffic counts to points of interest. It helps in assessing the accuracy and recency. Or relevance, sorry. The second question is around accuracy. You want to be able to have transparency. So ask questions like, is cross-validation being done? Ask, what steps are being taken to prevent overfitting? Ask questions about what are the variables that are driving the model outputs. The thing is, these questions should be answered with ease. And the last question, which is probably the most important one, it's around education. How will you educate us about the model outputs? Ensuring you and your real estate teams can interpret and act on these models is so important in building long-term trust. There is going to be a point in time when someone asks, why did we open that site? Why isn't that site performing like we thought it would? And you want to be able to speak with confidence about what drove the prediction itself. But trust isn't just about communication. Trust is also about receiving deliverables that you can act on. So to further build on transparency, it's also receiving clear and transparent deliverables like comprehensive technical and data documentation. With this documentation, it's going to speak to the methodology. It's going to speak to cross-validation processes. It's going to speak to accuracy performance over time. Now, the second one is about handling outliers. This may still fall within the technical documentation, but what it's going to speak to is how the model handles unusual data patterns, like extreme shifts in a market. And your model should be able to handle these types of situations. And the last one is explainable AI insights. This can be in the form of charts like summary plots, or even better, it's in your platform. So the moment that you do a prediction, you can see what variables drive that prediction up or down. So in summary, trust is about asking the right questions, and it's also about receiving clear and transparent deliverables. Because with trust in place, you can fully leverage the power of GeoAI to make your next strategic move. So this leads us to simulations. So let's now imagine that you have the ability to forecast the impacts of relocating one of your top performing stores. You're going to open another one, and at the same time a competitor enters the same market all at the same time. With simulations powered by GeoAI, it makes this possible. You can model real-world scenarios like opening or timing of new locations, the impacts of only selecting a certain group of leases to renew, or forecasting market share shifts. These simulations give you the ability to test various scenarios before you commit to a high-stakes move. But of course, simulations are only as good as the data behind them. So integrating third-party data like transaction data or residential and commercial developments, well, it's going to give you sharper and more accurate predictions. But then the question becomes, of this data that you have internally, well, how strong is it? Is it comprehensive enough to ensure that you can maximize the accuracy of your predictions? So let's dive into some of the data sets that I believe stand out over and above your traditional demographics, points of interest, and mobile data. The first one is Build Central. So something we've heard over time is that commercial and residential developments are hard to find. Well, this vendor provides both permitting and development data. So anywhere in the US, on a daily basis, you can see what's taking place. The second data vendor is Resimplify. This, in my mind, is an up-and-coming vendor. They provide commercial real estate listing data, again, across the US. It's updated in near real time. We all know how difficult it is to find properties, but to have visibility outside of maybe CoStar. But these guys, the accuracy of the data is so strong. The third one is a broader category, transaction data. This is somewhat new. There's a few vendors that exist, but it is a powerful data set. And when complemented or paired with mobile location data, makes it that much stronger. Because with mobile data, I think we've all questioned at some point in time the accuracy of the estimates. So again, transaction data can stand on its own, or it can be complemented with mobile data. So you can now know an individual retail location, what it's doing in terms of performance. And the last one is spatial.ai. So this organization or data vendor has been innovating for quite some time. Lydon and his team have a few products, geospatial and Persona Live. But I spoke with him last week, and there is a new data set that's coming out. I don't know exactly when, but ultimately I think it's going to change the way we do site selection. So I guess the key thing here is that integrating a diverse set of data, but also maintaining it, what you have internally, is so important. By combining your internal data with third-party data, like commercial developments, to the transaction data, as I mentioned, you can ultimately get sharper predictions. Your forecasts are built in reality, but they can also adapt to things that are happening in the future. So we've, again, talked about data, but I want to look to the future now. And I want to share with you a few predictions that I have over the next 3 to 5 years. Some of them you may laugh at me about, but we'll see. First one is, will brokers be replaced by AI? In 3 to 5 years, the short answer is no. But I do think that brokers will be impacted by them. They will, I guess those who adopt AI to automate tasks and to ultimately streamline their workflows, they will still remain essential. But those who don't adopt AI, I think their value will diminish over time. The second one is around our internal real estate teams and how will they be transformed? I do think within the next 5 years, internal real estate teams will be transformed in the sense of a boost in efficiency. Those teams that adopt data analytics will see a reduced amount of time doing on-site visits. They will see an acceleration in their site approvals. But they're also going to see a number of their workflows streamlined fully. Teams will be doing more with fewer resources, but trust and transparency will be crucial to all of this. And the fourth one is around location analytics vendors like PiinPoint. I think it's our industry that will be impacted the most because internal teams or internal retail teams, you will likely adopt GeoAI. Whether you build it in-house yourself or take a platform and use the models, we're going to see change. But it's those vendors that can provide near real-time insights, forward-looking predictions, but also focus on answering the questions around how is this model built and how does it change our strategy into the future will remain essential. So, in closing, as you return to your teams over the coming days, I encourage you to think about how GeoAI will transform or can transform some of your workflows, but also act as a catalyst for change and innovation. Think about the steps that you can take based on the topics that we discussed, whether that's fostering a culture of trust in AI, whether that is exploring new tools like simulations, or enhancing your data strategy, because these advancements are going to change retail real estate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.